Hey guys, today we're going to talk about making currant jelly. I got a good recipe from talking to a lot of people on the Roots and Refuge, Friends of Reach and Refuge site, and I'm actually going to make a currant jelly, and you don't need pectin or anything like that in it. I got some jelly jars. I also got a funnel. And you need this for the recipe. It's a digital thermometer. When you're canning, you do need one of these to lift the cans out of a hot bath, but this recipe does not call for a hot bath. These currants are ripe and ready to go. If you look though, each one needs a stem removed. So I have to wash them. So I'm going to remove all the stems and I'm going to wash them. And then as I go, I will show you how I'm making this and how it's going to turn out. This is our first time making this. And actually we weren't really a fan of the currants when we tried them. So we don't really know how this is going to turn out. It's kind of like a, fly by the seat of your pants kind of deal. So I did put all my jars, you're supposed to wash them first, so I put them in the dishwasher. I'm waiting for that. I got them on sanitize mode. So I'm sanitizing all the jars. If you don't have a dishwasher, then you have to clean them with hot water and boil the water and make sure that, they get sanitized. So right now I'm going to clean all the currants that I have. And we're gonna go ahead and get the pot. Now the pot that you're supposed to use for this is a big pot because you have to have them at a roaring boil, and then you have to use the thermometer to make sure that they get set at a certain temperature. So when I get to that part, I will definitely show you how I'm going to do this. And let me finish washing up all these currants. These are all the currants. Okay, I went ahead and washed these, and let me show you what they look like. They actually look really, really pretty once they're all wet and everything. So this is the black currant. Now I need 4 cups of these, so I'm not done yet, but look how cool they look. They're really dark, almost purpley color. Some of them we picked and they were kind of ripe, or I don't know. They were mushy though, so this is cool. I need about 4 cups to make a jam or a jelly out of these. So I have a few more that I need to wash. Okay, so I washed all the currant and it looks amazing wet actually. It looks like wonderful little teeny morsels. So I went ahead and washed them, and now I'm waiting on my jars. And then we're gonna go ahead and get this processed. This is what the berries look like. I went in, I might have missed a few, but I don't think I did. I went in and I de-stemmed them. When we were picking them, we made sure that there wasn't a whole lot of stems on them to begin with because of this process. I see one right there. But yeah, you just gotta make sure that there's not stems or it doesn't make for a really good jelly. And I went ahead and de-stemmed all these and I washed them. Okay, so I successfully washed my black currant, and now I'm gonna kind of dry it out because that's what the recipe called for. So I'm gonna show you how I did that. Here's an example. I just got a paper towel out. I'm gonna dry them out a little bit, make sure that they're really rolly, so some of them are dropping. Make sure that they're kind of dry before I put them in the pot. Now when you put them in the pot, you don't have to add any water or anything like that. We're just basically making a mash. And you're gonna throw them in the pot, and then once you throw them in the pot, you're gonna add your sugar, and then I guess you have to add a little bit of lemon juice as well. And then once it boils, it's gonna boil for about 8 minutes. And once it boils, then you have to check the temperature. Make sure that the temperature is at the 200 degrees Celsius, 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So we got to make sure. I just got this out. I was really worried when I opened it up because I saw this in the back. I'm like, oh no, I'm like, I'm gonna need a battery, but it automatically came with one. So I just got your typical run-of-the-mill temperature gauge for cooking. Nothing special to it. So now that my jars are sanitized, I'm gonna pull them out here in a minute, and we're gonna go ahead and get this process started. I have to make sure that these are all dry. So this is the typical pot that I have. I know it has Teflon, but I'm not real worried about it. These are exactly 4 cups. So for the recipe, it does call for 4 cups of whatever you're making. So this is 4 cups of currants, exactly. Which we were very lucky that we got a whole like bowl full of them, and I was worried that we wouldn't have enough. But when you have 3 currant plants, oh, they're just loaded. I mean, we have so much more than this, but this is all that we picked yesterday. Okay, so I got all these jars. I did buy them at Walmart. They are regular ball mason jar type jelly jars. But they did have other ones there that were cheaper. But I got Ball because that is a name brand that people have been using for hundreds of years. So that's what I got. But they did have other ones there that might be a little more economical. This was my first time canning or doing anything like this. So I decided to kind of go by the book as far as that's concerned. I'm gonna go ahead and put all my currants in the pot. Okay, so I didn't show you a few steps here because I am new to this myself and I actually needed to figure it out. So what I used is I used a pack of granulated sugar, and I have some cups here. I used a cup, and then it called for a half of a cup if you so desired or whatever. So I used a half a cup extra because currants were not tasting so hot. And then it called for a teaspoon of lemon. So I went ahead and put that in the mixture. It says you're supposed to do it until it boils, and then you take a potato masher and then you mash the berries, and then once you mash the berries you have to check on the temperature to make sure that it's at the right temperature. And when it gets to boiling, I'll show you that. Okay, now I did say teaspoon, I meant tablespoon. But if you can look here as I'm boiling it, it's actually boiling. Oh, I was worried because there was no liquid. I was going to burn my sugar. But as you can tell, it's boiling it down to make it mash. Are you videotaping? Oh. Maybe I can edit that out. But look at this. I made a jam! What does it say? Okay, so the problem that we're running into is trying to get it up to temperature. It does have to be at 220 degrees. So I put a lid on it, you can see here, to try and get the temperature up. It's boiling, so that's another thing. It's like you have berry juice all over the place, but it's okay. We're gonna go ahead and set the temperature on it again, and hopefully it's at 220. It was like at 209 when we checked a second ago. Here we go, we're gonna check it. It's really hot. We're climbing. It did have other temperature gauges at the store, but I didn't know. So next time we're going to get the one that you actually drop in there and it will tell you, versus having to hold your hand over a steaming bowl here. Okay, we still haven't reached the 220. I would say it's taken us a little longer than 8 minutes than what the recipe calls for, but it does say that you have to cook it for 15 minutes. So we're gonna wait a few more minutes and check it, and hopefully it'll be at the correct temperature. But as you can see, it's turned it into a jam. It's very sticky substance, so I made a jam. And we're gonna go ahead and try the temperature here in a few more minutes. Okay, so we made a successful jam. We couldn't believe it, but we made one, and I'll show you here in a minute. Let me flip this camera around. Okay, so we couldn't show you a few steps because we had to move fast. We've never done this before, but I have some of the stuff soaking. We had to get a ladle. For this process, the best thing we used was this thing, a funnel. It was the best thing because we had to hurry up and get it in these jars, and now we have to let them cool. Now, we weren't too sure about this Currant stuff because we never had it before. But I tell you what, we tasted a little bit of it. It was the best stuff that we've ever had. So I understand now why they like it. So thanks for watching, guys. Watching the newbies make some jam. Have a good day.